Hello, I'm Ben McDonald. I'm from Microsoft South Africa. I work in the OEM marketing team. And I'm here to talk to you for a couple of minutes about Windows 7 and one of the big releases that we have this year at Microsoft coming on October the 22nd. So Windows 7 is the 7th operating system from Microsoft, where Vista would have been the 6th, XP would have been the 5th. And we've done a lot of work on the operating system. We've received lots and lots of feedback from our customers over the last 2.5 years or so, and even further back in the Windows XP time frame as well, about the things they like about the operating system, the things they would like to see different in the operating system, and we really believe we've got an excellent product coming October the 22nd. One of the keys is around fundamentals, the fundamentals of the operating system. If you think about cars, you can have a car with all the bells and whistles on, but if you don't get the fundamentals right, and the fundamentals on a car would be the steering, for example, then you have a poor product. So the fundamentals of Windows 7 is really, really important to us. So making sure that the product starts up quickly, making sure that it shuts down quickly, goes into standby mode as well. So there's a lot of things that we've done in the background of Windows 7, things that you can't necessarily see on the product, but making sure that the product is a reliable and a stable and a fast product as well. So just as an example, when you boot the product today, Windows Vista, you get to the Control-Alt-Delete screen. It takes probably a bit too long to get to your actual desktop, and that's really around a lot of the things that Vista is doing in the background, the way it's executing drivers, that certain things it's turning on. A good example there is Bluetooth. It will switch Bluetooth on thinking that you maybe use it when you get to your desktop. Windows 7, on the other hand, it will execute drivers differently. It will execute drivers in more of a parallel fashion rather than a serial fashion, and it will only switch on the essential drivers. So the time between the Control-Alt-Delete and getting to your desktop is a lot quicker. So that's one of the fundamentals that we've addressed with Windows 7, making sure that the performance when you start, shut down, go into standby, and just general performance as you're using the PC is tip-top. Battery life, that's another one. If you look at over the last few years, you've seen a big switch over from desktops to notebooks. And the other vendors out there, like Intel and AMD, have been focusing on making sure that their components are consuming less and less power to save battery. The operating system has a major role to play in battery life. Take a DVD, for example. When you watch a movie, there's a decoding process that happens, and it's a relationship between the hardware and the software. We've tweaked that process, making sure that the decoding uses less battery than before. So we're seeing much improved battery results on Windows 7 versus Windows Vista. So number one point, just to cover again, we have the performance angle, superior performance in Windows 7 over Windows Vista, superior battery life in the product as well. Third point brings me to something quite interesting. It's around compatibility. Now, this may not be relevant for all of the consumers out there, but definitely small and medium businesses that had applications, homegrown applications that would only work on Windows XP. And that was a problem. So the compatibility through Vista's life, through Service Pack 1 into Service Pack 2, actually got better. But Windows 7 takes it to the next level. Compatibility, first of all, is far superior, and one of the features that we have in the professional product, the Windows 7 Professional and the Windows 7 Ultimate, is a mode which is called XP mode. So you can run a Windows XP application that will only work in Windows XP in a virtual environment on Windows 7. We call it XP mode. So this will eliminate a lot of the areas that our customers have been facing in certain applications that just simply wouldn't work with Windows Vista. The actual user interface itself, if you were to look at a Vista machine and a Windows 7 machine, you may think that it's one and the same thing. The user interface is very similar. If you're familiar with Vista, you'll be familiar with Windows 7. There's a couple of tweaks that we've done to the user interface. We've made it easier to search for documents. We've made it easier to plug in peripheral devices like we all do with our computers. We plug in phones, we plug in other USB devices that would traditionally need third-party software. Windows 7 will recognize a lot more devices than Windows Vista and natively, and it will eliminate the need for you to load third-party software on for you to recognize the particular product. Going back to the user interface, a couple of tweaks we have done to the user interface. One of the features we've brought into is preview panes. So most of us are on Internet Explorer and we're looking at various different websites. If you hover over the Internet Explorer icon, it will actually bring up a preview pane of all the windows that you're looking at that particular time. So it gives you quick, easy access to your data, to the data that you're looking at, and it gives you a lot easier route to click on the window that you actually want. One of the other things is around how we interface with our computers. Over the last many years, how we interface with a computer today is a keyboard and a mouse. But over the last couple of years, we've seen tablet PCs. Now, the first tablet PCs that came out from a hardware and a software point of view weren't that great. We've seen some very nice developments over the years from the hardware and from the software manufacturers like ourselves. So we're really starting to see the beginning of multi-touch devices. So going into the future, some of the technology you're actually seeing in movies today, it's really going to become a reality. The way that you're going to interface with your computer over the next few years will be very different to how we're doing now. It will be today perhaps a combination of a keyboard and a mouse and touch. In the future, who knows, it could be pure touch. There's a lot on the horizon and some incredibly exciting things happening. Windows 7 is coming in October. There's been a massive amount of interest in the product. We've received lots and lots of feedback from our testers out there that were testing the beta, that were testing the release candidate out there, and we've really listened to the feedback. We've really listened and we've made changes through the development cycle. And we're at the stage now where we call release to manufacturing, where the gold code gets released to the large hardware vendors, including Toshiba, and then they do all of their internal testing, making sure that there's a perfect harmony between the software and the hardware.
RTM was yesterday.
RTM was yesterday, absolutely.
How do you feel about people who say that Windows 7 is Vista Mark II version 2?
Well, yeah, we've definitely heard that, absolutely. And Vista definitely, it wasn't the operating system that it essentially should have been. I think it's perhaps a bit unfair to call it Vista Mark II. Although on the face of it, if you're looking at it physically, it looks very similar. But a lot of the technology around Windows 7 is actually built on our server-based operating system, and we learned a lot of lessons from Windows Vista. But also, there's a lot of good things about Windows Vista as well. There were some things that we needed to change and we needed to improve upon, and we absolutely admit that. So there was definitely some features on Windows Vista that our customers love. They love the arrow interface, they love the search functionality of it, they love the friendliness of wireless and how you can connect to your wireless devices. But definitely there is always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement in products as well. So we feel that Windows 7 will stand on its own, not as Vista Mark II. And we feel it's going to be an extremely successful product come October 26th. So many people downloading the beta, downloading the release candidate, and even actually pre-ordering Windows 7 as well, that during the beta and the release candidate, the Microsoft servers could hardly even cope with the amount of download. And locally as well, we've had release candidates on CDs, and we've just been overwhelmed with the amount of people that want to road test it. We've heard a lot of people, I've got friends and colleagues that are running release candidate very, very, very happy, and we haven't even got to the final version of the operating system.
And any predictions in terms of the PC market itself? Do you think the release is going to boost?
Wow,
that's a big question.
That's a big question, and I think a lot of the hardware vendors are hoping that it's going to stimulate some growth. We absolutely wanted to stimulate some growth, and we're pretty confident that it's going to stimulate some sales before the Christmas period. The initial release, or the initial indication on when Windows 7 was going to be released, was actually going to be January 2010. So we brought that forward for the Christmas period. We have the upgrade program running at the moment, which launched at the end of June. People can buy a product today and then upgrade to Windows 7 when it is available. And we've seen a lot of interest in that. So we think the interest out there, the buzz around the actual launch itself, can only stimulate the market. So fingers crossed it will.